Hi, this is Dr. Pachenik, and I'd like to address the massacre that occurred in Sri Lanka. As most of you know right now, 300 people were killed in three different Christian churches in three different cities in Sri Lanka, and 500 people were injured. That included also two hotels. This was a very professional massacre. As a matter of fact, this is really a personification of, I hate to say it, well orchestrated terrorism. And why do I say that? Because it came out in a way that people knew about it at the senior levels, but they weren't able to stop it. For 2.5 weeks, the senior officials in Sri Lanka knew about it, but because of their internal disturbances, they really couldn't stop it, yet all the intelligence was available. Now, what do I think about this in relationship to Macron's Notre Dame? I think this is the response or the revenge by the Muslims to Macron's false flag when he put Notre Dame on fire. Now, why do I think that? I think for the most part, the Muslim community internationally understood what Macron was doing. He was trying to unify the different elements within France. He was trying to say Christianity had come back to France when in fact France was a secular country. And he didn't in any way really alleviate the problem of anti-Muslim and anti-Semitism. In fact, he exacerbated the situation, as I've talked about in the last YouTube. More importantly, these people who affected the terrorism knew exactly what the problem was in Sri Lanka. They understood that after 30 years of a civil war, where the primary Buddhist religion is carried by the predominant government, persecutes the Tamil minority, which has been anything Hindu or Christian. This has been going on for 30 years. So Sri Lanka was ripe for a retaliation against Macron or European anti-Muslim activities. And they thought this one out very carefully. And when they executed, they understood that the Christians are now the primary religion which is persecuted all over the world. About, I would say, 2.5 million Christians have been persecuted or killed over a 10 to 15 year period in about 10 different countries. That includes Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Vietnam, North Korea, and many of the countries in the Middle East. Now, that would seem unusual because Christianity is the predominant religion in the Northeast and in the United States and in the European countries. But in fact, Christianity is losing its predominance to 1.4 billion Muslims all over the world. Be it that the Muslims in Indonesia and Malaysia are what considered light Muslim, it still is the majority religion. So what can we expect right now? We can expect that there be an intensification of polarization in most of the countries. For example, India is primarily Hindu and Buddhist. They have persecuted about 10% of their Christian community in order to solidify their power. Modi has done this, and its precursors have done it as well. There are other countries like Myanmar which will prosecute or persecute the Muslims, as they have done in Myanmar or the former Burma, and they've exterminated or tortured over 750,000. So what we're having on the world set right now is an extreme nationalism going either to the right or to the left, but primarily to the right, where the predominant religion of the country will determine the outcome of that country. So if a country like France is predominantly Catholic, although it appears secular, it will remain Catholic. If the predominant religion in India is Hindu, then or Buddhist, it will primarily remain that religion. What I would like to say and end this YouTube with is what Alexander Hamilton said, which is persecution is not the cure for heretics. And on that note, I bid you good night and farewell.